A paper wasp strikes the peacock beside the eye, and within seconds, more insects are circling his cobalt blue head. He has wandered too close to a nest hanging beneath a low woodland branch. The colony is disturbed. Wasps rise from the exposed comb and move toward the intruder. Several land among the short feathers around his face and crest. He jerks his head sideways. Another approaches, then another. The peacock shakes violently, but the insects scatter only for a moment. He sweeps a wing beside his head. He presses his neck through stiff grass, trying to brush away anything clinging to the feathers. It is not enough. The activity around him continues. He rises and runs. His long train drags across the dry ground as his legs accelerate through the grass. Wasps follow around his head and shoulders. He shakes again. He opens both wings in a powerful, defensive flutter. For a moment, the moving feathers push some insects away. Still, several remain close. The peacock drives himself through a narrow opening between thorny shrubs. Branches scrape across his train. He ducks beneath another bush, using leaves and twigs as a moving barrier between himself and the insects. But when he emerges, wasps are still behind him. The solution is not hidden in his feathers. It is distance. Paper wasps defend the area around their colony, but that defense does not require an endless pursuit. As the peacock moves farther into open ground, the encounter begins to change. The insects nearest him become fewer. Some slow above the grass, others turn in wide, irregular arcs. Behind them lies the branch, the comb, and the colony they are defending. The peacock keeps moving. Now the woodland falls farther behind. His frantic run becomes a rapid walk. His wings settle against his sides. His train drops heavily onto the grass again. One wasp turns back, then another. The loose pursuit breaks apart. Far behind, insects return toward the shaded branch. They gather around the papery comb, crawling across its open cells and making short flights around the nest. Out in the clearing, the peacock finally stops. His chest moves quickly. His beak remains slightly open. Dust clings to disturbed feathers along his neck and shoulders. But the air around his face is empty. He turns his head toward the woodland. Nothing follows. A final shake begins at his head and travels through his entire body. The crest whips. Blue neck feathers ripple. The movement passes across his back and through the enormous train until the last eye-spotted feathers tremble against the grass. Then everything settles. He bends his long neck toward one shoulder and begins to preen. His beak passes carefully through the feathers, separating the fine barbs and removing dust from the escape. The change is small, but unmistakable. His breathing slows. His movements become deliberate again. Soon he begins walking across the clearing. He lowers his head toward the ground and returns to foraging among dry leaves and short grass. Behind him, the wasps remain where their defensive behavior matters most, around the nest. the peacock, survival comes not from defeating hundreds of tiny attackers, but from leaving the place they are prepared to defend. For the wasps, the encounter protects a vulnerable colony without requiring a long chase across the landscape. And for the woodland, both animals continue playing very different roles within the same patch of habitat. One carries brilliant feathers through the grass. Others guard a small paper fortress beneath a branch. In nature, strength is not always measured by size. Sometimes survival depends simply on knowing when distance changes the fight.